Welcome to FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast series. Here we talk about all things franchising. What is it all about? Is it for you? How do you find the best one to own? And so much more. Now your host, Tim Parmeter.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of FranCoach and your Franchising 101 podcast host. Today, we are going to talk about a topic that honestly could bring up a lot of concern and uncertainty with our clients as they are going through the process of first just figuring out what kind of franchise they need to own, and then certainly as we get into the vetting process. And I want to point out, I even used a word that is commonly used from our clients as they start vetting the franchises. In fact, it's so common, we did a whole podcast just on the word concerns and then challenges. And so the concern we're going to talk about is around labor. In fact, we've done a whole nother podcast on labor issues. This is how to kind of sort through to find the best type of staff for you to have as an owner. And then also the franchisor support around it, which is in most cases in franchising, support from the franchisor is immense. It is overwhelming. It is coming at you in multiple areas, many of which you didn't even know existed. So that's what we're going to kind of roll through today. First, as always, a quick reminder of who we are. FranCoach is a national search firm dedicated to working with individuals interested in owning a franchise. We are partnered with well over 600 of the top franchisors in the country, spanning nearly 70 industries. Our goal is to help clients find the absolute best franchise to own. And the goal of the Franchising 101 podcast is to help educate people on all aspects of franchise ownership. Okay, so that's us. Now let's talk about staff. So first, before we get to being a franchise owner and what kind of staff you may or may not surround yourself with, let's talk about kind of back up to our process with clients before we ever introduce them to franchises. And on our second call, we refer to it commonly as an assessment call, which is an hour-long conversation. We are going to just pummel you with questions. I always kind of say it's what do you want to be when you grow up stuff. So as we go through this, one of the categories that we're going to discuss is staff. What kind of staff do you want? And some of the things that we talk about on this call is we kind of break it down into categories. And do you want a staff? There are a few things out there, not many, but there are a few franchise opportunities out there where it really could be just you to start. Okay. Is that something that we definitely want, open to? Definitely don't. And then we kind of break staff into three categories. We talk about salespeople, we talk about skilled labor, we talk about unskilled labor. Salespeople, they do sales stuff. Skilled and unskilled, we always kind of like pose these as opposites. Skilled labor, they are doing something you as an owner can't do, shouldn't do. Cut the hair, be the electrician, right? You are plugging those skilled, trained professionals into your business to do that task because you have a business that cuts hair or does electrical work. You're not the person doing it. Plug those skilled people in. Some people can manage that and enjoy, hey, this is your job, go do it. Others can't. So then we look at unskilled, where now you are training your staff on what to do, how to flip the burger, how to wash the windows, whatever that might be, even giving them a possibility to learn and level up to more skills down the road, right? So as we go through this, and there's really also a couple other things we can look at, kind of the true semi-absentee executive model where we hire a general manager. We can even subcontract things out, right? And so this is typically a category where people might have a little preference. I think I prefer this based on my experience. Maybe I prefer that based on my experience, but there's usually a great deal of openness. And in fact, that's actually one of the areas that it's best to have some openness. So what happens then is we're going to connect you to the franchises. And on the surface, they're going to look really different. And here's one reason why. We want you to see different types of staff, right? And the different ways to build that out. Even if you've had experience managing any of those categories or all of those categories as an employee, it is totally different now when it is your business, right? So we want people to really be able to compare and contrast. Okay, now once we figured out which of those kind of staff models is best for you, and now you become a franchisor, right? And even as we're still vetting this, you start thinking about, yes, I have managed people in the past, but it's not been in this particular industry because people start a franchise almost every time. The franchise is in an industry they have little to no experience in. And one of the things that causes some concern, causes some pause is I've managed people over here in what I've done the last 20 years. I've not managed or hired or been in charge of doing that in this totally different industry. How in the heck am I going to figure this out? Franchisor support, right? And it's going to come at you again in multiple different ways and angles. Sometimes it's just as simple as a job description. How many, even if you have hired and interviewed people, how many of you have had to create a job description from scratch for a position that you're hiring? And if so, how do you know if it's the right thing? How do you know if it's crafted properly to draw in the candidates that you want? Well, you don't until you've done it. And then now you start to see, like, oh my gosh, this is a pile of big old crap. We need to reassess what we're doing, right? So job descriptions, just bam, here they are. You got 3 positions to hire for your new business. Here's position 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's the descriptions. Great. Now what? Where do I post them? Aha, more franchisor support. Well, we like to post them here in, ZipRecruiter, in Indeed, in Career Builder, in Monster, in Glassdoor, on Facebook, wherever it might be, right? Those things, sometimes they're free, sometimes they're not. Guess what? If they're not, you're going to get them at a discount, a reduced fee, because you are part of that franchise system. The buying power, and we've talked about that a lot. Buying power is, I think, one of the hidden benefits of a franchisor. You are not paying sticker price for anything that you're going to do, right? So now we know job descriptions, we know where to post it, we are getting it at a discount, right? Now, what are some other things? Sometimes the franchisor may have a kind of a simple system to be able to, like, we're going to post it in 3 different places. We're going to all funnel it into the same kind of CRM or same software system to now, almost as if you're a recruiter, to now be able to kind of sort, well, here's 5 from over here. Here's 6 from this source. Here's 4 from that one. Great. Okay. We also usually get some tracking to know, man, we're getting way better leads over here. Let's stop spending the money there. Right. So now we have the leads and the applicants that are coming in. Now what? Well, maybe you've interviewed people in the past, right? And the farther up the corporate food chain you get, the less likely it is that you have done any interviews, or you've been the harumph person at the end that everybody's got to kiss your ring to try to get the job, right? Now you're boots on the ground, actually doing all the interviews. What questions are you going to ask? How do you know what questions to ask? And if you think you know what questions to ask, how long until you figure that out? How many bad hires from bad questions have we had, right? Franchisor support. They're going to say, okay, for position 1, here's the 5 questions that you asked. Boom, 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 right? Okay, well, great. Now I know the questions. What should they be saying? I've never hired for this before. Again, franchisor support training that you're going to have, right? Hey, we're looking for people with this type of background, this type of mindset, this type of answer is going to be pretty prevalent in our top performers. Great. Again, how many mistakes would you have to make by yourself before you figure that out, right? Then now let's say you're just getting your business launched and you are down to 2 people. Oh my gosh, I need to hire 1. I think I like both of these, but I'm not sure. Enter, guess what? Franchisor support. In most cases, you're going to have somebody within that franchisor system that's going to go, send me those 2 people, right? They're going to essentially do a final interview and come back to you and go, what the hell were you thinking? These both they're terrible, right? Let's go back to the drawing board. Or, hey, I like this one a little bit better because of bam, 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 right? Maybe you nailed it on both and then they're going to go flip a coin. It's your call, right? But again, you have that, again, reassurance that you've done everything correctly, right? So now, again, all those kind of quote concerns that you may have vetting the franchises on the staff, I've not managed this type of person before. And if so, I certainly haven't done it in that industry and it hasn't been all on me. All of those fears that kind of crop up kind of get alleviated as we go through this based on that franchisor support. And again, back up to our process of understanding which direction do we probably lean, and kind of have any preferences on what kind of staff that we do want to be around based on you, your experience some, but more times it's really you. Hey everyone, I wanted to take a quick break from our podcast to tell you about our amazing friends at Entrepreneur. If you're looking to become a franchisee or simply learn more about business ownership, and guys, let's be honest, you're listening to the Franchising 101 podcast, so we know you have some interest in this. And I really encourage you to go to entrepreneur.com to check out all of their great content and resources. Seriously, Entrepreneur has everything, all the way from a bookstore to the best podcasts, webinars, and videos, plus information on upcoming events and the latest articles that seriously, they cover all aspects of franchising and business ownership. If you're having trouble deciding which franchise is right for you, start with Entrepreneur's renowned Franchise 500 ranking, which highlights the best franchises of 2022. For 45 years and counting now, Entrepreneur has been and continues to be the most widely recognized and respected authority in the franchise market. Digital and print subscriptions are available, so you never miss out on anything. So seriously, what are you waiting for? Go to entrepreneur.com right now and learn more. So now we've figured all that out. We know the type of staff. We are comfortable with the franchisor support. We've gotten it launched. We've gotten the person or people hired. Now what? Well, now we got to train them. How the heck are we going to do that? I want them to make a sandwich every day, right? What are we going to do? Hey, Bob, go make a sandwich. Awesome. How, right? How do I slice the bread? How do I slice the tomatoes? How many pieces of ham do I put on? What does that look like, right? Again, back to the franchisor and franchisor support. You are going to have standard operating procedures, a detailed training manual. You are going to have oftentimes, any number of pick your learning style. Do we read? Do we watch? Do we listen? Do we do it live? Or how are we going to be able to get hands on doing this? Who's helping me with that? So all of those things, sometimes it may be being able to bring hires with you to your training. Maybe it is once you have them on, you're open and you have them on, as you're onboarding them, the franchise is going to have a whole training curriculum that you take them through, almost like an online college curriculum. All of those things are going to be in place, perhaps even down the road. Okay, well, a year from now we're ready to hire somebody new. Maybe it is a higher level position. Well, that franchise may give you the opportunity to actually send them to the corporate headquarters, go through the whole training you went through, right? That's possible that you can do that. Or again, you're going to have those online training and curriculums, things that sometimes are a little bit more technical. You may even have a franchisor that's going to have 24/7 support. There is a franchise we work with as an example that is in the kind of remediation space, smoke, fire, water damage, right? As an example, they've got a 24/7 basically training hotline. If your techs are out on the job and all of a sudden they're like, oh my goodness, I've never seen this before. I don't know what to do, or I'm not sure what to do. Well, even if they call you, you may give them the same answer if your team hasn't seen that before. Boom, don't worry about it. They've got a number. They can pick up the phone. They can call. Again, franchisor training experts in that field, in that whatever that niche is, they can get on the phone with them, maybe video chat with them to be able to walk them through exactly what to do. Again, making sure that everything done is in the best way, the best quality way, done right the first time. So as you kind of learn about this, and then the other thing I was going to kind of share with you too is from a training standpoint, onboarding standpoint, staff standpoint, how do you pay people? What's the appropriate way? What's the appropriate way to compensate them? Is it hourly? Is it salary? Is it commissions, bonuses, whatever that might be? That is all going to be there, kind of org charts, again, ranges for how you're paying people, ways for them to progress. Not everybody wants to, not every job's going to have that. But can you bring somebody in at level 1 and help them, again, level up to something else? Not everybody wants to be the boss. And the other thing I always tell on staff that I want to make sure we point out is all of the franchisor support that is out there, which is immense. All of the time we are going to spend helping you vet through what's best for you. The absolute number one factor in employee turnover for you as a franchise owner, let me help you. It's you. Take care of your people. we have all had bad bosses, right? If there's somebody out there that's, never had it, then good for you, stay where you are. But we've all had bad bosses, bad leaders. And what's the expression? People don't leave jobs, they leave their boss. So if you are dealing with turnover and you are following the system and the process that the franchisor has laid out, you're using all of your resources, but they're still having turnover, take a look in the mirror. That's it, right? Take care of your people. Build a great culture. Build a place where you would want to go work, right? And again, when you do that, what you will find and I don't care what industry it is, if you take good care of your people, your best source for new staff will come internally. It will be referrals. If you're not getting referrals from your customers, if you're not getting referrals for new staff from your current staff, you're not doing the right thing. So again, all of the things in the world, and there are tons of them from that franchisor, the biggest issue with staff, my friends, it is you as that leader, as that boss. Don't be that person with that. So again, that's always kind of the caveat and really the X factor in all of this from a franchise ownership standpoint is you. What is the number one thing every franchisor is going to say? Ask a franchise, I don't care what franchise, what industry, what are you looking for in an owner? They're going to say, follow the plan, put forth the required effort, right? Everyone's going to have those two things. And then from there, it's going to be specific. So when you do that and then you take good care of your people, good things will come. So this is a huge area of concern for folks as they are looking at franchises, and rightfully so. Even if it is something that is, you don't want staff, I want to be by myself. Guess what? You still have staff. It's you. Can you manage yourself? And having done that for years, there always kind of joke. There are times I've had to put myself on a performance improvement plan. Like let's go, Parmeter, pick it up, right? You have to be able to do that. You have to be a self-disciplined to do that as well. So even when you have the concerns of staff and think you want to do it yourself, still a concern. But concerns in almost every case means we need more information. We need to find the proper way to do that. That's going to be obviously, frankly, our process at the beginning to help plan that out for you. And then as we get into the franchisors and we're vetting things that look very different on the surface because they give you an opportunity to learn about different ways to build a team, it will all ultimately become clear. And these are the things that are going to help you with it. Yes, it's going to sound like a concern. Yes, it's going to elicit some fear. But as we get through this process and we get to the end, this happens every time. And every time I say it at the beginning, people think I'm nuts. It's going to be so crystal clear you found the right franchise, you won't feel like you're making a decision. Okay. That's a little bit about labor, staff, how we find it, how we navigate it, and the levels of franchisor support that's going to be there for you. So again, hope that helps. And in general, for all of our podcasts, whether it's just me or it's one of our guests, we really hope that it helps educate you on some little nugget within franchising, helps you realize that franchise ownership is actually significantly more attainable than maybe you realize. And you're listening to the Franchising 101 podcast. We know you have some interest. Reach out. Set up that first call with us. FranCoach.net, Franchising101podcast.net. You're listening and watching to the podcast. We know you love those things. If you're a reader, check out franchisingnews.net as well. That is basically all of this stuff in lovely long format. So got everything we need for you here, folks. So reach out to us today. As always, we thank you so much for tuning in and listening and being such loyal followers. Let's get on the phone and talk soon and help you create your better tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast, where our ultimate goal is to help educate you on all things franchising so you can create your better tomorrow.